A historically deadly volcano, I am sad to report, appears to be showing new signs of unrest. What I'm referring to is the source of Mexico's deadliest volcanic eruption, which in 1982 resulted in the incineration of 142.1 square kilometers or 54.9 square miles via widespread pyroclastic flows that ended up causing an estimated 2,000 fatalities. What I'm referring to is the nation's Chichon Volcano, whose 1982 eruption left behind a 1 kilometer or 3,281 foot wide and 300 meter or 984 foot deep crater, which is now filled with a large, highly acidic crater lake. Chichon had shown no signs of unrest, albeit with 1 week exception in August 1992, since it last erupted more than 40 years ago. So, what changed at this large lava dome complex earlier this summer in 2025? Simply put, beginning on June 6th, this volcano has experienced a rise in the number of daily and weekly volcanic earthquakes it has produced. This rate has risen from less than 3 daily earthquakes during the first week of July to 6.4 daily earthquakes during the fourth week of July, only to then decrease but then notably spike since August 16th. Since August 16th, the number of average daily earthquakes jumped to about 26 a day. On August 25th, the highest number of earthquakes during the period struck, totaling nearly 90 earthquakes in a single 24-hour time span. Before I explain what this all means, I want to reassure my audience that the severity of the current unrest at this potentially dangerous volcano is still very negligible. Is there a reason to panic right now? Absolutely not, and this unrest is statistically most likely to not end in any form of new volcanic eruption. However, this unrest is still abnormal and absolutely does warrant temporary increased monitoring of Chichon, which is exactly what has been done by relevant authorities. While volcanic earthquakes did increase for a few days following a tropical depression passing through the area in late June, this fact alone is insufficient to explain the overall increase in the rate of earthquakes. Chichon, for reference, appears to have a magma chamber at 5 to 8 kilometers depth and a larger, deeper magma reservoir at between 11 and 14 kilometers depth. These details are important because seismic activity thus far is occurring in 3 clusters. The strongest of the group is at around 2 kilometers depth, but there are also far weaker clusters at 5 to 7 and 11 to 13 kilometers depth. The deeper of the two could very well be caused by a slow intrusion or slow buildup of magma at fairly deep depths, while the shallowest cluster likely represents triggered activity in Chichon's hydrothermal system. The local Mexican scientists seem to agree with me on this latter point, as they note that a change has recently occurred to the volcano's hydrothermal system, which is the source of so many of these earthquakes. I personally suspect that magma supply at depth has increased the heat in the subsurface, with some of this heat transferring to groundwater. This groundwater then rose at an increased rate, lubricating faults and making it easier for them to slip to generate these volcanotectonic earthquakes. While none of these earthquakes have exceeded magnitude 3.7, several dozen of them so far this month have been in the magnitude 2 range. Hydrothermal earthquakes are often the first sign observed before another form of unrest occurs at a volcano, but they also occur in the background unrelated to true volcanic unrest far more often at many world volcanoes. In other words, do not yet read too much into Chichon's current unrest, at least not yet, especially since no other changes at the volcano have so far been detected. Regardless, access to Chichon's 1982 crater has been completely restricted due to this change. But let's for reference hypothetically see what would happen if the least likely scenario did end up occurring, the unrest eventually leading to a new volcanic eruption of Chichon. Would such an eruption be another plinian repeat of 1982? While technically possible, current models might as well completely disregard this possibility, with the next set of eruptions at this volcano most likely to be several orders of magnitude smaller. Such eruptions could be brief and phreatic, producing a series of explosions in its crater lake much like recently seen at the Taal volcano, or could form a series of small lava domes. Such eruptions are fairly common for intervals of time following major eruptions at volcanoes which create new deep craters or calderas. But this is just speculative, and an eruption anytime soon is currently not expected. Stay tuned for more updates. As a final note, I would like to thank my new patron Elizabeth King for supporting my work.